Brad, you've been neutral on the stock. You said you wanted to wait to see reception to the new cameras, the drone. Now with this news today, how does that impact your outlook?
You know, it's interesting, obviously a pre-announcement generally drives somewhat of a change. And from our perspective, the news out this morning from GoPro really wasn't that much of a change. The 35% sales growth relative to the year-ago quarter, which saw sell-through only of about 1.2 or 1.3 million units, we think the number may need to even be higher than that. Getting out of the entertainment business, that business really wasn't driving that much revenue, so really no impact there. And then the workforce reduction, they had already really guided to the OPEX target for 2017, the lower operating expenses. And so telling the market today that they're going to let 15% of the company go is really just the mechanism by which they'll achieve those targets. So from our perspective, there wasn't a ton incremental there today.
They had to recall 2,500 drones after some of them lost power mid-air. Now they're facing a class action lawsuit over this. I mean, how concerning is that to you when, these are products that are supposed to be the future of the company?
Certainly it's a concern if you're an investor. I would say around the drone at this point, there just isn't all that much expectation built in. Investors aren't really giving them much credit there. So, if they can come out with a product, I don't think it's looking great for this holiday, but if they can get something out next year and drive at least a little bit of traction in that market, that could certainly help. But I think in the near term, the company's message seemed to be a prudent one this morning, which is they're really narrowing their focus, really concentrating on capture device sales, which I think is the best course of action here at this point.
So let's talk about the cameras. What's your outlook for the holiday quarter? You've got some new competition out there, different competition, Snap Spectacles, for example. How do you think the new cameras will actually do this holiday?
Yeah, we've done a lot of our own research to date, and what we're finding is we think the Hero 5 Black is doing fairly well at this point. I would say about in line with expectations. We think the Hero 5 Session is probably lagging expectations somewhat. Our estimate, a Q4 estimate, is a bit below the street. I think we're looking for about 1.9 million units, and the street's probably closer to like 2.1 or 2.2, somewhere in there. So, we think things are likely to come up a little bit soft here in the holiday quarter at this point.
Now, about 40% of GoPro stock is currently sold short. That is a huge position. It causes a lot of volatility. Do you see the company shaking off that short interest?
It's difficult with these types of hardware-based models. If the company goes out and sells a ton of cameras in the holiday quarter, that's awesome. The problem is then we got to turn around and do the same thing all over again in the March quarter and the June quarter, and thus the sort of ongoing struggle with these hardware-type models. We do think there is a sustainable market here for action cameras going forward, but the issue becomes is that if they continue to see sort of price erosion looking out to 2017 and they face further unit declines, I wouldn't expect that short interest to decline meaningfully on an ongoing basis.
How optimistic are you about the company returning to profitability next year?
I think they're selling a good product at a 40, call it 40-something plus percentage gross margin percentage. So, if they cut their operating expenses enough, sure, you can run this company at a profitable level. The issue then just becomes is that if you're running profitability on a sort of stagnant revenue level, there's really no growth for the future and tough to find the incremental buyer of the stock there.